yourself to pull yourself up. It's self-help, basically. That's what personal development is. And our topic today is personal development, a tool for wealth creation. But I slashed it and said, no, a tool instead for abundant living. And you would know why as we progress. It's a tool for abundant living. Not necessarily wealth creation, yes, but I know that a lot of people have, flawed definition of what wealth is, and they just tie really to material things, which actually is riches. But abundance is more robust. And yes, I'll give us the definition as the time goes by. So for my name is Maryjane Ugbaja, and these are my expressions. I am my first craft is in the media, right? So I started off as an actress. In fact, all things media, I like to say. Actress, advertising agency, where I was doing voiceovers for, major brands. I still do voiceovers. I'm doing one tonight, by the way, but it's just not my mainstay anymore. But yes, I do voiceovers for some of the Amstel, Malta, Ribena, ORS, and Zinc, Huggies, Diaper, blah, blah, blah. Name them. But you might know me from television series if you watch Africa Magic a lot. For those in Nigeria, Hush, Tinsel, Hustle, Rock TV, and the likes of it. Just TV series and movies here and there. And talk shows, yes, talk show, podcasts, basically communications. Now I do PR also in management consulting, but I'll get there. So that's my media side. The other thing that I am is a coach. And of course, that's why I'm speaking with you today. A personal development or life coach, a transformational coach, or, clarity coach, career coach, as a lot of people like to put it, self-mastery coach, resilience coach, whatever name, suits you very well. But I am a coach. My passion lies in seeing human beings, individuals, especially young women, especially women, come into their purpose, unlock their potentials, and live fulfilled, abundant, wholesome lives, right? And a wholesome life is not a life that is void of trials. It's not a life that is void of problems and tribulations. No, is that right in the middle of those trials and those struggles and the hardships that life can bring, you've gained a certain measure of perspective and understanding that gives you peace in the middle of the storm, right? So my passion actually lies in helping people attain this level of mastery and build this level of resilience, in such a way that they live very, lovely, peaceful, wholesome lives, right? And that's what translates into my coaching. I have a coaching and mentoring academy or institute, as we like to put it, called TALA. TALA stands for the African Lady Ambassador. And well, in the next slide, you'll see that, and I'll talk more about it. I also run personal coaching services that is birthed from, of course, my passion for coaching. Then there's management consulting, where I work. It's my day job. Thankfully, I don't go to the office every day. There was a time I used to, but I work in management consulting, where I operate as a COO, 6334 group. You might want to check us out, where we do all things management consulting, end-to-end business plans, talking about capacity building, talking about project management and execution, business advisory, and all of that. So that's my management consulting. And I think this is what makes me a pretty versatile person, especially in terms of life and career consulting, right? So the last thing is merchandising, which I started this year. It actually came from Tala, and I'll just flip the slide so that we can see it. It's called Ruak bytala. Ruak bytala is our latest brand. It came from this personal development passion. So it came from a place, the Tala that you see on the right, Tala Intention, Wellness and Beauty, is actually Tala Fashion. It's Tala Apparel. So now we have a clothing line, And if you had joined in earlier, you'd have seen behind me that there was a clothing rack. We have T-shirts. We do customized T-shirts with it's like an affirmative personal development line where, you know, we dress people up for wellness, for success. When you dress up, we want you to, by your style, send a message out into the world, heal someone's mind, help someone, be intentional about your dressing. You know, is a wellness line basically, but is merch. So frames for offices, for homes, you know, and just personal branded items basically. But we put our own branding on it. And yes, we brand for companies, for churches, and, you know, different organizations. So that's our merchandise. The African Lady Ambassador I explained earlier is a coaching and mentoring academy. We have 2 schools in the academy. The first school is a school of discovery and purpose. Now, the School of Discovery and Purpose is for people who want to improve their self-awareness, who want to discover themselves, who want to know themselves, who want to unlock their potentials, who want to come in touch with their gifts, their skills, their passion, who want to maximize their potentials, who want to discover their purposes and, you know, live in it, who want to find their voices, create their own platform, who are in search of meaning, true meaning, who are in search of their why, you know. And this is what we do at the School of Discovery and Purpose. We use teaching resources. I'm the lead coach there, but I facilitate sometimes alongside other amazing coaches, including my own coach and my own personal coach. I brought him in to teach on some topics such as time mastery, as the big why, which is like one of the biggest topics, models in the School of Discovery and Purpose. We teach on self-awareness, self-mastery, why you act the way you do, you know, your gifts, your skill, your passion, on values, on the subject of purpose, on visioning, how to craft a vision, and on goal setting and execution. You know, it's a world of goodness. You know, that's what I call it. That's the School of Discovery and Purpose. We also have another school. There's a School of Clarity and Emotional Wellness. Now, this is for people, this is more of a wellness, of a school of the world, like I said, emotional wellness. Our topics are topics on clarity, gaining clarity for wholesome living. We have topics on discerning a new season, and it's teaching about how to transition, how to know you're coming into a new season. Another topic on navigating your season. We have topics on forgiveness, topics on emotional mastery, we have topics on the neuroscience of your emotions, on mental resilience, on overcoming depression. You know, that also is another world of goodness. So these are the 2 schools that we have at Tala. And the third thing is my own private coaching for people who want to gain clarity, for people who want to move from point A to point B but don't know how, for people who need a coach, who need a safe space to offload their burdens with an aim. And this is where the difference between coaching and therapy is. So now you want to offload your burden, but it's not talk therapy, but you are looking for a guide. You are looking for a tutor. You're looking for someone who will see the potentials in you. You're looking for someone who understands what you need at this time and is handing you those tools, you know, not just to survive, but to thrive. Do you see? So that's who I am. There you have it. That's who I am as your coach. And thank you very much for listening to that introduction. And I welcome you once again to this session. And it's my hope that, you know, you get 1 or 2 things. Like I said, it's like a pre-taster course. And it's my hope that, you know, it will be beneficial one way or the other to you. And for those of you who are still having doubts, you know, about, you know, paying, please, can you mute your mics, please? For those of you who might still be having doubt here and there, you know, about paying, it's my hope that, you know, after our session today, you would not even hesitate 1 second. You would just go and register for the course, especially because it is very, very much affordable. So I welcome you once again. Let's delve right in, please. So what is personal development? I know that a lot of us have come in contact with this phrase, right? Personal development, especially in the year 2020, when the lockdown was on, and it was like those we need to just focus on ourselves and build ourselves, build capacity. So personal development. But what is this? What does this phrase really mean? It refers to activities, and I like that it says activities designed to improve talents, potential, employability, and even wealth. So anytime you're consciously making an effort to improve yourself, you are simply participating in personal development. Anytime that you intentionally are putting in effort to improve yourself, the word is intentionally, putting in efforts to improve yourself. Effort is another key word there. You are putting in effort intentionally to improve yourself. Then you are participating in personal development. Another word for personal development means is self-growth, right? Self-transformation, self-improvement is what it is, right? So there you have it. Why is personal development important? And I grouped it into two parts. It's simple. And if I talk about this, I can't stop talking about the need for growth and contribution. Personal development is important for many reasons, but I say very categorically, it is because man was designed to grow and to contribute. The reason man was designed, man was created, man was made, man was placed on earth, human beings were placed on earth, is for growth and for contribution. The ambition of every living thing, not just human beings now, but every living thing that was made is actually to grow and to contribute to life, right? So I would say that the ambition of everything that has life, the ambition of a seed once it is planted, the ambition of a seed once planted in a human being, let me even go there, is to grow in the womb and then to come into life and then to keep growing and then to contribute. The ambition of a mango seed when it's put in the ground is actually to grow, and not just to grow into a full-fledged seed and to maximize its potential, right? And what will its potential be? Please, can you see the mic? Thank you. And what will the potential of a mango seed, for example, be? It will be to grow into a tree with leaves, then to bear fruits, right? To produce shade. How about that? To harness its bark, right? Where you can get sticks from it, you can get wood from it, you can make furniture from it. Is to grow basically and to contribute. And I like like science put it or how do we call it? As if philosophers, whoever came up with it, called it the cycle of life, right? Or is it a circle? Cycle of life, I'd like to call it. That when you go into the jungle and you can see the animal, the lion chasing the deer, you can just see how life is designed, that everything is actually working for everything and nothing is just random. Nothing was made for nothing. Everything was made to fulfill a specific inherent function. And that's exactly where I'm going, that this speaks to the uniqueness of man, how it is that every human being born on the planet, I mean, if all living things were designed to fulfill a function, how much more human beings? And not just a function, we're designed to fulfill specific, unique functions. We're designed to contribute in specific and unique ways. Every single person. That's how life is happening for everyone. That's how everyone was designed, to fulfill specific inherent functions. All right. And I say this, how I marvel at just the thought of how for so many decades, years, that science has not been unable to unravel the mystery of our unique thumbprint. How is it that those who were before me, my ancestors, those who are here now and those who will be after me, will never have the same thumbprint as I do? How so? It just speaks to our uniqueness and how man was designed uniquely to grow and to contribute. And this is why personal development is very important, because personal development now teaches you how to grow, and how to contribute uniquely in your own lane. All right. And we will see that. So that's that for the definition of personal development. Then we'll go into other definitions in our topic. Like I said, I had to scrap wealth because of our flawed definition about what wealth is, about how people, have mistaken actually the terms. They use it interchangeably. So wealth is not riches. Riches is simply material wealth that is quantifiable. That's what riches is. It's just simply material wealth, right? But wealth is vast in its spheres. Wealth is actually thriving across the different aspects of your life, thriving in your spirit, soul, and body, which includes your social health. You have social wealth, emotional wealth. So just replace that health that you see there with wealth. We're talking about social wealth, social capital, your relationships, emotional wealth, your well-being, financial wealth, physical wealth, spiritual wealth, intellectual wealth, and when I checked up the synonyms of wealth, I love that it had to do with affluence. It said abundance, and it says prosperity. I loved it because these are the terms that I'd rather use. I'd say abundance, I'd say wholesomeness, I'd say prosperity. And, it just reminds me, and by the way, I forgot to do that in the introduction. I am what I love to call a Christian girl, right? A Jesus baby. I'm not necessarily churchy. You have to pardon me. Sometimes I don't go to church. Sometimes I don't even want to go to church. I don't like to go to church. But one thing is certain: I love God with all my heart, and I love to delve into the scriptures. And I have like a beautiful relationship with my Maker. And so many times my conversations would be centered many times around spirituality. Do you have your mic on? Kindly mute it if you do. I see Abby David, Onyeka Chioma. Please guys, mute your mic. Thank you very much. So you would hear me make reference to, spirituality and scriptures. Please try to pick out the wisdom from it. And if you have a bias about that, just try to listen rather objectively, okay, and get the juice. Thank you very much. So you see, I like that there is abundance, and I like that there is prosperity, because many times, in scripture, you come across words as the prosperity of your soul, as abundance. In fact, the biggest reason, that Jesus came to die, one of the biggest actually, is that we live in abundance. In fact, that's what he said. Why am I saying one of the biggest? He said, I've come that you will have life and have it in abundance. So it's to live that abundant life. And it's a life that is encompassing of wealth, of riches, of health, of finance, everything, spiritual health, intellectual. Just live in that abundance and thrive. All right? That's what it is. So abundance means, and this is very important that we break down our terms so that when we're using it, we're on the same page, okay? Abundance means having more than you need. Therefore, an abundant life means everything that pertains to living well, having sufficient. But then we'll say, okay, now, if this is what abundance means, and we are all meant to live abundant lives, and like I just said, or like the Bible says, that this is what Jesus came to do. He came to give us life so that we can live it in abundance. We can have more than we need. How possible is this? How realistic is this? How real is this? How truthful is this? That should be like a question that would be bothering on your hearts, because it's worth thinking about. Like, how many people are really living this sort of life, and is this really, really attainable? Right? That should be like the big question. So how do we ensure this? How do we live an abundant life? How do we live in abundance? How? Where does it start from? Where does it end? In fact, is this something that is quantifiable? At what point do you even know that you're living in abundance? Do you understand? Is it by being rich? And if it's by being rich, okay, there are rich folks who are not who don't have good health, for example. How about that? Rich folk that are depressed. Aha, how about that? Is that abundance? It's a lot of questions to ask, if you're thinking rather deeply. Do you see? So how do we attain this abundance, and how is it that personal development can be used as a tool to achieve that life right now? So this is the first thing that I said. I said there is nothing that you need that needs to be created. Tautology, but pardon me. Everything has been created. Everything has been created already. And I love how, how it's usually put. The seed of everything is in itself. The seed of everything is in itself. Everything has been created. Riches has been created. There is not seed. Riches has been created. Everything that needs to be created has already been created, but they need to be accessed. So how do you access it? You can't access what you don't know. So it starts from a knowing. It starts from a level of knowledge. It starts from knowledge. It starts from the mind. It starts from insight. It starts from perspective. It starts from shifting your worldview, your perspective, your mindset. It starts from learning, uncovering, unraveling. It starts from seeking, asking questions, and you'll only receive answers at the level at which you're asking these questions. Do you see? But the truth is what it is, that there is nothing that we need to create that has not been created already. There is every invention, every witty invention that was created from something that has been already. The components of the aircraft was created from something that has been already. Iron, metal, steel, wood was created from something that is in existence already. So what is new is the idea. What is new is the idea. So where do these ideas come from? Now, these are critical questions that you need to ask yourself. How does man have access to this sort of idea? It is asking questions. It is curiosity. And like I said, you only receive answers at the level at which you ask questions. Do you see? That's why, I'll make this reference too. That's why, Jesus would say, seek. If you seek, you'll find. If you knock, the doors will be open. Or you've got to seek. You've got to ask. If you ask, then you receive. If you seek, then you find. If you knock, the door will be open. And they will be open at the level at where you are knocking. Don't know if you get what I mean. Okay, so we'll keep learning. Aspects of personal development. Personal development has different aspects. Mental, intellectual growth. I said mental and intellectual growth is the same thing. Mental, like I said, development is growth, right? It's transformation, it's improvement. So mental growth or development, it focuses on your mind, such as, your thought processes, the way you learn, your thinking, your belief system, your, everything that has to do with your mind and your intellect. You have, social growth involves your communication skills, your relationships, just your social, like I like to call it, your how do I this how I put it here, social capital, right? Your spiritual growth, emotional growth, your bodily growth, physiological and financial growth. These are all aspects of personal development, and there might be more. There just might be more. But this is what I say. How do you grow? How do you grow? How do you grow? Now, you cannot grow without understanding who exactly you are. Who are you? Who is man? Who am I? Who's Maryjane? What makes me me? What is my component? I say, that purpose is like a ladder. And on the first rung of the ladder is self-discovery. Self-discovery. Self-discovery is encompassing of self-awareness, the encompassing of self-acceptance, It includes self-love, self-mastery, self-efficacy, self-discipline, you know, and then self-worth, self-actualization. It also has its cadres, you know. I mean, you've got to be able to accept yourself before you love yourself, you know, and then before you move on to the mastery phase, you know, it has that evolution. But you know, you cannot really, really and truly live in your purpose without coming into a level of self-awareness, a level of knowing. This is on the bottom rung of the purpose ladder. And that's why we have the School of Discovery and Purpose that you come into. And that's why we start with all those courses. Some people come into it and say, oh, Maryjane, the first few courses, you know, on self-awareness, you know, that have to do with temperaments and personalities. And these are some of the things we teach, especially in the first two models, right? On personality, on your gifts, on your skill. You know, some of them like, oh yeah, you know, we already know about the temperament. I say, calm down and go through it. Because there are some people who have no awareness about this thing, who don't know. They were coming across those information or that sort of information for the first time, right? But it's your ability to dig into yourself, to know yourself. And this is one of the ways I decided to break it down just for the purpose of today, of this pre-taster course, because I decided, you know, okay, let me see if I can try to cover a lot in a short time. So I said the components of man, of every single person. Man is made up of spirit, soul, and body, right? And I know you probably have heard about this before. Tripartite beings we are, and how it is that we are spirit beings having a soul that, you know, that a soul that is our processing unit, is the wealth of our experience that houses our hearts and our minds, you know. Then we have the body. The body is what we see, and, you know, is such that the spirit doesn't have jurisdiction on the earth without a host. Do you see? The soul of a man doesn't have jurisdiction to operate on the earth without a body, right? So that's what it is. The spirit, I wrote here, I said the spirit belongs to God, its maker. And the reason I said that is simple, is because that's what the Bible says. The Bible says that, and the spirit will return to man. It says that the spirit of man is the candle of God. The spirit will return to man. So that's why I simply put it like that. The spirit of God, of a man rather, belongs to its maker. So let's move on with that. Then we have the body and the soul. Now, what's the distinguishing factor between the body and the soul? I wrote here that the body will grow with or without your permission. If my friend will say, oh, the body is a wicked thing because it grows with or without your permission, right? And you must be able to nurture your body with quality thought and quality diet. Now, what this means is that I put this banging, the lady with the banging body. Yeah, that's me, by the way. The lady with the banging body, right? I put that there because I said, yes, nurture your body, take care of it, take care of your skin, take care of what you eat, what you put into it, take care of your hair, groom yourself, properly nurture yourself. But no matter how much you do that, this body is designed to age. The body is designed to age. Once you get to a certain age, you know, it will rot, it will die, it will decay, it will turn to soil, is what it is. Is what it is. It's designed so the body will grow. But you see the soul will not grow until you grow it. Until you are intentional about its growth, it will not grow. And that's why, sadly, you would find, for example, a 50-year-old man or woman stuck in the body of a teenager, in their thinking, in their intelligence, their emotional intelligence, in their intellectual capacity, in the way they talk, in the way they behave, in their competence level. Like, you can just, you're like, where have you been? Who have you been interacting? What have you been watching? Their world views are just so, you know, so childish. But yet, their bodies have grown completely. And that's what man is made up of: spirit, soul, and body. And what you pay attention to is what will grow. Matter of fact, if you pay attention to your spirit man will grow, but you will be unbalanced. And that's even the problem with a lot of Africans, I must say. I'm sorry, but it's what it is. Spiritual, spiritual people, right in, in the church, morning, afternoon, night, praying, speaking in tongues, reading the Bible cover to cover, but they can't function in the marketplace. They can't function in the field. And that's why the phrase as far as the church rat came to be, because the research found that the poorest people were found in church. They were there in church morning till night, just praying and speaking in tongues. You ask them a question in real life and they're answering in Christianese. Just everything is spooky. It's all spooky, and they're just so they cannot really function in the marketplace. They cannot create wealth. They cannot provide solutions. So limited. But that's because that's what they pay attention to, the spiritual things, right? And that's it. The body, you nurture it, you take care of it. You look beautiful, you look pretty. And if that's all you have, that's what they will call you beauty without brains. Do you see what I mean? So you see one very pretty girl back then in university carrying expo. And for the sake of people who don't know what that means, it means cheating. Cheating. Do you see? Just pretty. Because she's paying attention to her outlook, her clothes, her skin, her hair, the latest wigs, the latest this, that, and has not bothered to focus on intellect. And so at the end of the day, it's telling during exams that there is something missing. And so is the soul. The soul will not grow until you feed it. Until you feed it, and you must be able to nurture yourself with this balanced diet, this balance, this thing that makes you wholesome, this thing that makes you complete, this thing that makes you robust. And when you open your mouth to speak, people will say, oh, where have you been? Who are you? What circles have you been in? What's going on? What are your interactions? And they're curious about you. They want to find out more about you. They want to know more about you. They want you to be there. That's it. It's quality diet. Growth is a function of quality diet. And you might want to write that down, that growth is a function of quality diet. Now, just mention the components that make us us and how it's very important that we pay attention to these three components. But, the spirit, like I said, spiritual side, I'm not a pastor. You might want to go to church or focus on how to be spiritual, read your Bible, talk with the Holy Spirit and commune, and, find your teachers in that area, in the spiritual area, teachers that can feed your spirit, right? Then your body, you might want to hit the gym. You might want to now begin to look out for teachers and coaches and people who talk about, self, your, wellness, I mean, physical wellness, maybe a fitness coach, maybe a beautician, esthetician, and all those people. But today, what I'm going to focus on and where my calling lies is on the soul of a man. The soul of a man is the seat of a man's intellect and emotions. Is the seat of your intellect and emotions. So if we are talking about personal development, we are talking about the building intellectual capacity and emotional capacity. Your intellect has to do with your skill, your expertise, your field. Are you a beautician? How good a beautician are you? Are you a coach? How good a coach are you? Are you a biologist? What exactly are you? What is your field? What is your passion? What is your area of expertise? And how good are you? How skillful are you? And there's a model in the School of Discovery and Purpose that we call it identifying or discovering your gifts, your skill, and your passion, and that's what we focus on, right? And how to identify it. So your intellect. The other aspect of your intellect, of your soul, is your emotions. It's a seat of your emotions. Now, your emotions has to do with emotional intelligence. Simple. Emotional intelligence. How well you manage relationships, how you interact with people, how you see people, Who do people mean to you on a day-to-day? When people come into your life, how do you see, how do you interpret their place, their position in your life? How do you interpret who you are to be to them, how you are to respond to them, how you are to treat them, how you are to manage your relationship with them, how you just, the how about people. And then your emotional mastery, gaining mastery over your own emotions, how you respond to given situations. And this is where a lot of people, some people might be good with people, with other people, but they're not good with themselves. They're emotional wrecks. And by that I mean they're not good with handling situations, crisis. How do you respond to crisis? How do you respond to crisis? How do you cave under what happens in your mind? And it's just this generation of overwhelm and mental health issues. Unfortunately, it hurts my heart. Overwhelm, mental health issues and traumas and all of these things that are depriving people from living in abundance. And in fact, let me just give you a hint. This is how the School of Clarity and Emotional Wellness came to be. I think it started in 2020 as well. Yes, 2020. And, a lot of people, and, it was a dark and dreary time for a lot of people, just going through a lot. And it was affecting people's mental health. And it was, what can we do? How do we create a solution for people? And that's how the School of Mental Health began to teach on emotional mastery. And in fact, then I could see the picture. It was clear, like I said earlier, if Jesus came, that we should have an abundant life, that we should live in abundance, in wholeness, in wholesomeness, that we should thrive in every sphere of our lives and have more than we need, have resources, that would cause us to thrive. And in fact, in very simple terms, let me tell you what that is. That is living a life of peace, is living a life of joy and satisfaction, a level of satisfaction, a level, mark my words carefully, okay? But it's a life of peace and life of joy. And I've said to you that a life of peace and joy is not the absence of storms, is the ability to remain centered, is the ability to find congruence, the ability to find balance and maintain a certain outlook and perspective to life during the storm, during the crisis, during the tribulations. And this is what a lot of people, and this is where a lot of people are lacking: emotional resilience, mental resilience, right? So the soul is the seat of your intellect and your emotions. And you must be able to grow your soul in order to thrive, in order to live in abundance, in order to prosper. Because you will only prosper in the world to the degree to which your soul prospers. You will prosper as your soul prospers. Your soul was created to prosper, to flourish. And so there's this beautiful scripture that comes to mind. It says, beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. The soul is actually designed to prosper. So how do you prosper? How do you grow in your intellect? How do you grow in your emotions? Right? That's it. And I like this diagram. It says empathy, right? It speaks to your emotions. IQ, how do you call it? Your quotient, your intelligence quotient, right? Your EQ, emotional quotient, care, personality, self-esteem, motivation. I love all of this. Decision making. Yes, because that's the seat of your choices, is the processing plant, basically, of your life, right? That's it. Now, the way your soul will prosper is when it gains access to light. To light. And I learned this from my teacher, and you learn more of this in our course called The Big Why in the School of Discovery and Purpose. where I bring in, Mr. Fisayo Fonsoya, and he killed it. I remember when he taught this course and we couldn't recover. We had a model. We were supposed to meet that Sunday. We couldn't meet. We hadn't recovered from the things that we just learned. Yes, it was that full. But I love it. He called it the quadrant of knowing, or the quadrant of light. That your soul has to come into contact with light on a certain level. And there are 4 quadrants of this light, of knowing. The first one is intelligence. Intelligence is circumstantial. Intelligence, everyone was born with a measure of intelligence. It could be intelligence in one thing or the other. It's what makes us unique. That someone is intelligent in sports, for example. Another person is intelligent in art. Another person has good ears for music, and is interested in that enough to build some sort of intelligence to discover, to find out, to learn more about that area of interest. Everyone was born with a measure of intelligence. There is nobody that came to the world without intelligence. There is nobody. Everyone was born with a unique gift, a unique set of gifts and intelligence. All right. So that's the first thing. The second one is knowledge. That's the second level of knowing, is knowledge. Knowledge is a weak form of light. It's a weak form of knowing, because you can know, but hello, knowledge is just data. It's information. Please, can you mute your mic? Who is that? Oluwase, thank you very much. Knowledge is information. It's just basic data, it's raw data. And anyone can have access to information. But what do you do with that information? So, I go to speak sometimes, and in a few places I've asked them this question, and thankfully they always fall for it until everyone knows it, and then they don't fall for it anymore. But I say to them, what is the major cause of flooding in Nigeria or in Lagos where we live? And a lot of people know that answer. Maybe I should put you to the test now, put in the chat room that what's the major cause of flooding? And a lot of people say blocked drains. And I say, what blocks the drains? And I know, should I put that to test? What blocks the drains? Please, can you put it in the chat room? Let's quickly do this exercise. Don't be shy, don't be shy, don't be shy. Come on, don't be shy. I know we have very intelligent, vast people here. Come on, come on, come on, come on. What are the causes of? The people are the ones that block the drain. Trash, yeah, trash. And so when they say to me, trash, right? They say trash. A lot of people say, oh, it's trash, it's trash. And I say to them, how many of you throw trash on the ground? How many of you? And then they go, you can hear the rockers in the room. And yeah, it gets me laughing. So I'm like, what good is that knowledge to you? Of what good is that information to you? How profitable is it? You see how knowledge can actually be weak. And knowledge just puffs you up. Just puffs up, and you become a philosopher. You now begin to talk, just be talking, no depth, just have information. You can't translate that information. Now, your ability to translate that information to the next level helps you make choices, good judgments, and that's wisdom. Wisdom is the application of good judgment. It's the application of judgments that you're able to see rightly, to perceive rightly, to interpret, not interpret actually, but just make sound choices. Sound choices, good judgments. That's wisdom. It's the application of knowledge, right? But the last leg of the light, of the quadrant, is understanding. Understanding is, I checked the etymology of all these words: intelligence, knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Understanding, the etymology of the word is from this, I think, Greek word called forstanden. And when I read it, the first time I came in contact with that, I couldn't understand it. Because when you check it, if you go and just check etymology of the word understanding, you will see in between, under, above, beside. That's what you will see. I was like, what sort of in between, under, above, under? I couldn't really understand it. It took me a while. I stayed with that thing. I came back to it. Months after, I just kept asking. And I say, you'll receive answer. It's just how curious you are for that answer. Don't ask once. Don't just ask. You've got to be able to be curious enough to grow. I remember when I was looking for the meaning of this understanding, see, for standard, and one day a light bulb went off in my head. I screamed. I was screaming in my house. I was screaming and running around. I couldn't believe it. Standard, it says in between, under, above, beside. And what that meant was a concept, dissecting a concept, breaking it down till you have a robust 360 degree, a panoramic view of that concept. That's understanding. It means that you have gained freedom. You have attained freedom. When your understanding of a subject or of a situation is complete, you are free in that area of your life. If your understanding of finance, of wealth, of riches, financial riches, finances, if your understanding is robust, you have done enough research, start with people who are gurus and masters in that field, and you have researched and read, and you have gained understanding and that level of light on that subject, you become financially free. There is no way you will not attain freedom in that area. That's understanding. That's the end game, is to understand. So do you see that we move from one level of intelligence or one level of knowing or light to the next? It's not enough to just be intelligent. It's basic. Everyone was born with intelligence. The fact that you know law and the next person does not understand you when you're talking and you're fooling yourself by saying learned colleague, it makes me laugh when they do that. Like, back then in school, they used to feel like the most intelligent people around. I don't know how many of you went to Nigerian institutions like myself. Oh my God. You know, they were the only knowledgeable people, but they were just knowledgeable in their field. You know, one person is knowledgeable in law, the other person is knowledgeable in spatial, or geospatial, whatever it is, or engineering, or something else, or in media. So that's basic knowledge, basic. You move on wisdom, okay, you can distinguish between right and wrong, all right. But then there is understanding. So how do you gain understanding? That understanding brings you from being a victim, right, to being a master. It's understanding, it frees you, gives you perspective, places you on a plane of higher consciousness, where you can see better, you can perceive better, you can see better, basically, and then you can respond better. And this is what I said, and we're coming to the end of this. I said, I don't need to keep you here all day, and it's just a pre-taster. And I said, the answer is to find your teachers, is to be curious enough. Curiosity killed the cats, not humans. Ask questions. Ask and you will receive. Seek, you will find. Knock, the door will be open. But you've got to ask at a certain level. You've got to ask and ask well. And I said this, find your teachers. They are your fast access to light. Your teachers are your fast access to light. And here I wrote, your teachers are never far from you, but some of you stone your teachers because they don't come in the shape, form, or package that you want. And I'm going to take a bit of time just to explain this, just some small time. Who are your teachers, first off? And like I said, they don't come in the shape, the form, or the package that you want, right? Your teachers are people who bring you answers for time. They're people who bring you answers, solutions for time, right? But the only way that they can be your teachers is if you recognize them as your teachers. Some of you treat your teachers like your sisters because they are your family members. So my sister or my brother, oh, and it could be your younger sister. Some of your teachers are actually children that just by watching them. In fact, it was the book of Proverbs that said, go and learn from the ant, you sluggard. Go learn from the ant. Let the ant teach you its ways. It's your teacher. And you've got to learn to go through life as a school. That life, your experiences are a school. You've got to be able to learn from everything, from the experiences of other people. Find your teachers. What is teaching you at this moment? And you've got to be intentional enough to say, this is my teacher. Be that intentional, be that deep, be that curious, be that mindful, be that present. Be present enough to recognize that this is my teacher. I am learning from this at this time. Your teacher, you can find your teacher in coaches, in your mentors. And like I said, they can be all around you. Your teachers are never, life was designed in a beautiful way that, you know how they say, oh, life is not fair. Life is not fair. You know, see, God placed you here. Life might not be fair, but God is fair. Life might not be fair, but God is fair. How about that? Except you've come to the conclusion that you serve a wicked God. That's an entirely different, question and deserves another answer. But for now, how about that sort of mindset? And if God is fair, it means that He has presented to you what would enable you thrive, what will enable you succeed, what will enable you, walk in your purpose or gain clarity or find solutions and answers and live in abundance and prosper. But you have to be able to recognize it. You can find it in books. So per time, and let me give you practical examples so that I'm not speaking above your head. So sometimes when I am in need of a solution in an area of my life, and it could be that, oh, maybe I began to be slack in, let me say, I begin to eat carelessly. Yeah, very random, begin to eat carelessly. And I find that there, maybe I'm unable to restrain myself or discipline myself enough. I'm not disciplined in this area. And I'm eating carelessly, or I don't know what is right to eat. There's just a wisdom, a knowledge, or a light gap in that area. What do? I begin to seek help. Where do I find that help from? I begin to say, who are the people in these areas that are talking about healthy living, healthy eating, weight loss, blah, blah, blah. What are the books that have been written in this area? I begin to access materials. I begin to listen when people are speaking, and not just listen passively, very, very actively. Now I begin to I bring these materials into my life within the period. It could be a period of a month, it could be a period of 3 months, it could be 6 months, it could be a year, for as long as I need it. And then I begin to absorb these materials, listen to these people, and I create like an intentional schedule around this topic, this problem area of my life. And I'm teaching you the secret also of personal mastery. This is self-mastery, right? And I begin to say, this is what I need for this area of my life. And I find the materials and the solutions. My teachers is what I call them. And it's good I break it down so I'm not speaking above your head. And it could be in finance. My finances, I'm lacking. Why am I lacking? So the first thing I do is not to go into, the first thing you should do is not to go into pity party victim mode and say, oh, my life, oh no, oh, some people are Bill Gates and Dangote, and why am I here? Oh no, they probably were born into privilege. Oh no, or luck met them and I'm so unlucky, and woe is me and I'm undone, and all of that drama. But then I come with the right perspective to the table and say, I come with truth and say, I need help in this area of my life. right? Because I was actually designed to prosper. I was actually designed to live in riches, to live in abundance. So why am I lacking here? There's a light gap. There's an understanding problem here. There's a problem with my level of understanding. Now I begin to apply the principles of understanding. I come into this concept of riches, of finance. I sit with a finance coach. And some of you get to the point in your life where you need to see a finance coach. A finance coach, and speak with people who deal with finances, who deal with investments, who deal with savings, books that have been written on this subject. Who are the subject matter experts here that are doing well in this field? And I begin to consume their material. And it's not that, oh, I go and follow them on Instagram and once in a while I come across a 30-second video, a 1 minute video, 2 minute video where someone is having a conversation. No. Then after that 5-minute video, I scroll up and then I see another 1 minute video of something else that has nothing to do with it. Your soul has to be centered. You've got to have narrow focus on that area of need. That deficit has to be filled. Do you see that? It has to. You have to. But you have to be intentional. And when you're intentional, is what I call you have found your teacher. And you can learn this from the people. See, the materials are always around you. You just did not identify it as the tool that would bring you solution. You didn't identify that book as your lifesaver. You didn't identify these people. Do you see? The answer many times is in your teachers. They are your fast access to light. I met a lady recently going through a bout of depression, like, oh, she was just, oh my God, oh Maryjane, oh Maryjane, oh Maryjane this, oh Maryjane that, oh Maryjane, oh. And I was like, I started, just responding very casually to her because, well, as a coach, the truth is sometimes you know the end from the beginning. Well, it can be a blessing and maybe a curse sometimes because you can sound arrogant and maybe impatient, and you're like, oh, this, can you just please calm down, just listen to me, and here's the solution, take it. Once you apply this work, do you see? And because you have the diagnosis already before, anyway, so but they just go, and she's going and going and going and going, and I'm like, okay, calm down. So I took up the conversation and I just began to talk to her, and I just said, okay, this, and I was telling her where she was coming from. I was like, oh my God, how do you know these things? How do you know everything you're saying? Oh my God, that's oh, my sister said it yesterday. Oh, my younger sister talks like you. My younger sister, oh my God, I don't know. In fact, yesterday, she ran down to my house as early as 4:30 a.m. today. Oh, because I sense I'm like, I can't take it anymore and I want to just end it. I can't do this anymore. And my youngest, the same things you're saying to me. Oh my God, Maryjane, the same things you're saying to me, she said to me. And I looked at her. I said, your younger sister said these same things to you. I said, what's your problem? Why? What's the problem? The problem, and she was telling me that she needed a therapist. Her younger sister was providing therapy. And in fact, beyond that, acting as a coach, your younger sister is right there every time you need her. Very sensitive, according to her. She says sometimes, in fact, I don't even want to burden her. She just knows what I'm going through. And she comes in and she's so sweet. She's so this, oh my God, I was like, oh, it's like if my life is tied to you. And I said, your younger sister is your teacher. And life had to bring me your way just to prove to you that the things that you are looking for in a coach, you have found already in a sibling. But because you don't recognize her, so when she's talking, sometimes you can tell her, shut up. Because she's your younger sister. You can tell her, keep quiet in your language. And you laugh on her. You can tell her, oh, please, because you have it perfect. But, you are not sensitive enough to know that there is a solution for you. And I asked her, what does she do? And the other has a life, sorted, CEO of some big, she's actually a big woman. Has a driver, has a house, has a this, has a that. And you're right there. I'm like, what is this lack of humility or arrogance or just silliness? What is going on with us? Your ability to identify. Per time, your teachers are not far from you. They are not far, and they come not just as one teacher. Mark it, I said teachers. They come, they're books, like I said. They're there on your YouTube. And that's the beauty with this internet world that we have been plunged into, that we have answers. We don't need to pay for information. We don't need to travel to go sit with a maestro or a guru. And this information is there for free. So when some people reached me on this program to say, talk about their skepticism to join the program, I said to them, do you realize that some people just didn't come across the post like you did? Do you realize that meeting me is not random? Coming across this program is not random. What is it with your sensitivity? You've got to be able to connect the dots. Otherwise, you are going to stay in the same spot. You will rigmarole. You will just be moving around in a circle. But when you come across with light, what this helps you do is to collapse time, is to shorten your night time, and get into the daytime of your life. To shorten such that, you don't spend too much time groping in the dark. Shorten your night time and come into day. Come into your purpose. Move into the next season, into the next, space in your life. Come into wholeness, whatever it is, just thrive, live, live in peace and enjoy. And that's who your teachers are there. That's what that's what this sort of course is here for. And then I say, okay, you know what, let me do a pre-taster. And they're not here. But loads of them reached me to say, well, I want to be a part of this. But the ability to recognize it. And don't let this be you. 15 of us here, don't let it be you. That you're able to recognize in your workplace, your colleague that is always making sense. Instead of trying to prove that, you have more sense and you're feeling, just keep quiet and listen. Be humble enough to say, man, you make a lot of sense. I'm learning from you. That humility, your teachers are your spouses, for crying out loud. Is your husband or your wife. But you've got to be able to understand that this person is actually coaching you and teaching you and showing you the right path to your freedom, to gaining insight and understanding, which of course leads to freedom. Do you see? Some of you, it's your children. Your children. But you've got to be able to recognize it, find it, and don't stick to just one teacher. Understand that they're teachers. Listen, take the information that they give you, soak it in as a sponge, run with it, implement it fast, because your learning metabolism must be activated. It must. That's your ability to transform, to take information and convert it into a solution. Take information and apply it straight. Apply it fast. Not just hear, but do. Oh, it just reminds me of this beautiful scripture that says, oh, don't be hearers alone, but be doers. Because when you're a hearer, it's like a man who goes into the mirror and he says, he looks at himself and immediately turns back, he forgets what he looks like. The Bible is just amazing, has beautiful life nuggets. Anyway, it's the biggest bestseller book, around the longest. So, well, that's it. And I've spent a lot of time. And, I said the end game here is purpose, to live in your purpose. The end game here is abundance and fulfillment. And today, I said to you that, have you seen some rich folks who are ill and bedridden and in the hospital, and, of what use in that point is the riches to them? It will show you that a man's life really does not consist of the material things that he possesses, that there is more. There has to be more. There has to be more. It's purpose. And that purpose brings you into a place of abundance, right? Purpose. And when you find your purpose, your calling, but not just finding it, you are thriving in your purpose. That's where abundance is. That thriving will come from a place of growth. That you find your purpose and you grow along the lines of it. You find your purpose and you grow along the lines of it. And remember, we started with your soul. being the seat of your intellect and the seat of your emotions, and that you will prosper to the degree to which your soul is prospering. You can prosper only as your soul prospers, as far as your soul prospers. So how do you make your soul prosper? How will your soul live in it, flourish? How do you not, people say to me every time, oh, Maryjane, you don't look like what you have been through. You don't look like it. You don't, and you would never know until I sit you down to tell you the story of my life. I don't look like nothing, and I shouldn't. I really shouldn't. I shouldn't. I don't know why you should actually look like what you have been through. You should be through stuff. You should go through stuff. And it's that sort of mindset that is the beginning of what equips you, right? And I know why. I'm just a human being. You say, why me? Then who else? Why not me? It's okay. I don't understand. In my office, just a joke, an aside, when I have there's an issue maybe with a junior colleague and I get insulted or something, I'm like, please, if they insulted Jesus, who am I? It's just a joke that I crack and I just remembered. I'm like, yeah, sure, why shouldn't I pass through these things? Why? It's life. I would pass through it. I would pass through. You have to, it's a pre-built mindset, and it's what I teach in the School of Clarity and Emotional Wellness. It will open up after the School of Discovery and Purpose. The School of Clarity and Emotional Wellness will open up after our 6 weeks. And is what we teach is emotional mastery is a model, mental resilience is a model, gaining clarity for wholesome living is a model. And it's what I teach. Having a mindset that has been pre-built, having a mindset that's been built, with certain perspectives. Life will throw curveballs at you. People will hurt your feelings. You're not the first. You will not be the last. It's how life is. Why do you now cave under it? There's something wrong with your mindset. There's something wrong with your expectations. There's something wrong with your wealth, with your bank, your how do I call it? There's something wrong with your resilience. There's something wrong with the information that you have. It's not full, is weak. It's too small. Your capacity is weak. If you fail in the day of adversity, your strength is small. That's it. It means that you did not build capacity enough. So this is it, that you go build capacity in the areas of your emotions and in the areas of your intellect. Do you see? And this causes you to flourish. And remember that we're not neglecting our spirit side. We're not neglecting the body, so that we can have a very, robust and, balanced outlook to life. And, we can flourish and we can thrive. And I would just from here say that the reward for living in your purpose is fulfillment. The reward for purpose is fulfillment. That's it. That's the much ado about purpose. When you say, oh, you've got to find your purpose, is because people, until you ask yourself those critical questions about who am I, why am I here, what is my purpose, what will bring me fulfillment on the long run, not immediate gratification, fulfillment, what am I doing here? Why was I created? What is that problem that I'm here to solve? And it doesn't have to be, in a huge way. It could be in your small space, but what is the specific inherent function that I was designed, uniquely crafted and placed in this side of eternity to solve? And until you are able to find the answer to that question, you will move around in circles and you might end up frustrated and live in misery in your old age. And watch old folks. You've got to be able to learn from them. Some thrive, a lot don't. Filled with regret. And it's not a money thing. It's not a money thing. Rich folks, you ask them, and they have regrets, great regrets. Things that they wish that they did differently, and if they turn the hands of time, to start again, they would do entirely different. And I'm not saying you can't make mistakes, but I'm saying that your mistakes can be minimal. I'm saying we can minimize these mistakes. We can correct them from now, and we can begin to chart a course that is meaningful, that in the end would gratify us, that not just in the end, but now. Because the thing with abundance is that abundance starts now. It's a state of being. Is it's in your heart, your mind, your soul, you know, it's how it has a lot to do with your perception. It has a lot to do with the level of information that you have. Do you see? The level of information that you have. You know, I'm just reminded of a study that I did. Oh, thank God I put it right here. You know, I got this from fierceinc.com. You know, I had to go research about, you know, the quality of our thoughts and about how we think. And it says that on the average, a human being, the average human being, the conscious thoughts of the average human being is 40 to 50 bytes per second. The thoughts that crosses the intentional thoughts or conscious thoughts is 40 to 50 bytes per second. And that on the average human being, on the average, we think about 7,000 thoughts per minute. But this particular study, they took a group of people and they assessed their thoughts. They thought 6,200 thoughts per day, right? 6,200 thoughts crossed the minds of these people per day. But the studies showed that 80% of the thoughts that they focused on were negative. That means out of 6,200 thoughts, 5,000 of those thoughts were negative. Out of 6,200 thoughts that we're thinking in a day, 5,000 thoughts were negative. And it impacts on the quality of your life. It impacts on your outlook. And that's why we must be conscious about what we're feeding our soul, what we're feeding our hearts and our minds, because is our subconscious mind. It just thinks, it roams. But what it thinks of on, what it ponders about is actually what you have fed it during the day. That's it, is the things that have come across your mind, you know, the scenarios that played out, the things that happened in your past, the things that happened in your present, and your visions about the future. And it, you know, the thoughts you begin to focus on, your predominant thoughts that you focus on, actually become neural pathways in your brain. They're strengthened. The more you focus on them, the more they, you know, they get stronger and stronger, and you know, they form part of your conscious and subconscious thoughts. So you can imagine how many thoughts, you know, for people who have been through trauma, you know, and then you wonder, oh, why is this person living in this thought pattern? You know, and it's just hard to find a solution for that person, you know, because, you know, this same thought keeps replaying. You know, I brought this up to say that we must be intentional about what we're feeding our minds with. Let's feed our minds with things that will grow us, growth. And the more you take in materials and resources and listen to the right people, your role models, your teachers, coaches, mentors, you know, yes, sit with therapists if you need to find healing from trauma and pain. Find them, find your teachers. You know, I can't say this enough. You've got to find them. Look out for books, for materials online. Go reading. Don't say, oh, I'm not a book person. Are you a rich kind of person? Like, are you, I don't know, are you like me that likes the soft life? Are you a soft life kind of person? I don't know. And you know, it's this sort of refusal to engage with capacity building, to engage in this level of building, you know, to put in these efforts and carry out these activities. That's why a lot of people fall into errors. That's why entitlement comes, and dependence. If a lady begins to, you know, depend on a guy, on a man, to solve her problems, to fill the void, to provide a solution, fill the need. Meanwhile, you should be providing solutions. But you didn't put in the work. And then every other time, it's a ripple effect. You get heartbroken, then the next guy comes, and then this, you get heartbroken, And that's why we teach on values. There's a whole course, a whole model, 2 models actually on values. How to identify and create the right values. How to support them. Identify your intrinsic value, your, you know, is there. Is right there in the course. Because you've got to be the best lady that was ever created. You've got to be able to set a standard for the world in your generation. You've got to make a mark. And I'm not saying that we all will be popular, but we all will live meaningful lives. Footprints on the sand of time, that people be after all to say, there was this person in my generation that existed, whether in my family line or in this job, in this career, just provide a solution, something meaningful, live a meaningful life. That's it. That's part of what abundance is about. It's not just for you, it's for other people, it's for your generation. So guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. And the day you stop growing, literally you start dying. And by dying, of course, it doesn't mean that you die physical death. But we need to say that your perspective will be skewed. I just gave you the entitlement, the example of ladies who become very entitled and just falling into all sorts of, and it just breaks my heart when I see young ladies that way. And I'm like, please come and sit down with me, darling. And how may I help you here? What's going on? What's going on with your life? What's going on? And yes, to say that I for those of you who didn't come in early, I introduced myself and introduced all that we do. I guess maybe I'll take it straight to the first those first few slides to show you everything that we do at Tala, amongst which is private coaching, just to sit down to help you to chart a course with your life, to gain clarity, to build mastery, to discover yourself, to unlock your potentials, to know that you are way more than you are right now. There's a lot on the inside of you. The seed of everything is in itself. Everything that you need has been created and has been put on the inside of you. The seed of everything is in itself. And you can't look really on the outside by comparing yourself with another person or trying to walk in another person's shadows. No, you can't do that if you want to live a fulfilled life. You have to look inward. And that's the thing about personal development. The principle is that you go inward and then you take roots. You take roots inward and then you go outwards. You take roots inward and then you go outwards. That's it. That's the rule of personal development. And that's what keeps you centered. That's what keeps you balanced. That's what gives you peace and joy. That's what helps you, gives you a healthy perspective. And people are like, there's something you have that I don't have. There's something you have touched that I need to touch. And then you become an example, a role model, amongst your peers. Now I've come to the end of this class, and I just want to say thank you for your attention. And I really hope to see you in class on Monday. If you haven't paid, you can do so. This is the account number, is on your screen. Do send in your money, and that's it for today. Thank you very much for listening to me. And now I will take your questions. If you have any, I will stop the sharing of this right now. If you want the account number, Precious, please just help us put it in the chat room. Or which other coaches here, please just help us put it in the chat room. And that's it. Thank you very much. Yeah. Question time. Do you have any questions, or have I been talking to myself? Why is everyone so quiet? Questions, questions, questions.
We aren't quiet, ma'am.
You're not quiet, or it was too much to digest. Hello, hello, hello. Was it too much to digest?
No.
Was it back-busting you? It was back-busting. The class after today, the class is 10K.
You just take some time to just process. Okay.
Right. I get you. I understand.
But first and foremost, thank you very much.
You're welcome, darling. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay,
Who am I speaking with? Can you introduce yourself?
My name is Ifoma.
Hi, Ifoma. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Pleasure is mine, ma'am.
Lovely.
Okay, I just want to say, not a question actually, because I didn't start. I had a little bit of network glitch, so I didn't really start with us. So, but I just want to say thank you very much for the little that has done much that I listened to. That I listened to. I really do appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're very much welcome. I will stop recording right now. So stop
Okay.
recording.